Hello and welcome to this very quick video on functions. This is officially my last video on functions. There are some things that I will leave out from the syllabus in terms of functions because I do believe those things are simple and some of these things you've done them already. For example, I'm not going to cover composite functions or inverse functions. Why? Because if you're watching this video, you've probably done IGCSE or O level, or if you were not doing Cambridge, you probably did GCSEs. I'm talking AQA, Edexcel, OCR, whatever that is. And you most definitely have already covered this in year 11. You've learned how to compose functions for composite functions, you've learned about inverse functions. So I'm not going to cover every single thing in this topic. Today, I'm quickly going to run through the concept of um, one to one functions, one-to-one functions, and many to one functions. One-to-one functions and many-to-one functions. What is this put in simple terms? Basically, let's say you have a function y is equal to 2x squared. Okay, now what is this function doing? This function is giving you a y value based on an x value. Now, when x is 2, what is y? When x is 2, y is going to be 8, because 2 squared is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. But interesting enough, when x is negative 2, y is also equal to 8. So we have two different x values that have given us the same y value. We have different x values that have given us the same y values. In other words, many x values have given us one y value. Many x values have given us one y value. These are the many x values here. Many just means more than one. These are the many x values that have given us the same y value of 8. So this function here, y is equal to 2x squared, is known as a many-to-one function. So a many-to-one function is a function in which more than one input value gives you the same output value. Remember, our input values in this case are x, and our output values are y. So you are having many different input values which are giving you the same output value. 2 and negative 2 are different input values, and they're giving you the same output value. Let's look at another function. Y is equal to 2 multiplied by the sine of theta. Okay, y is equal to 2 multiplied by sine of theta. Again, you know sine, cosine, tangent, you did trigonometry. Now, what happens when theta is equal to 0? When theta is equal to 0, our y is equal to 2 multiplied by the sine of 0. Our y is equal to 0. Our y is equal to 0. But what happens when theta is 360 degrees? When theta is 360 degrees, well, what do you know? Our y is 0. When theta is 360 degrees, our y is going to be 0. What happens when theta is 720 degrees? Well, our y is 0. Our y is going to be 0. So you can go on and on and on and on. There are many values. So you see here you have 1, 2, 3 different values of your input theta that are giving you the same y value of 0, the same, and these are not the only three. You can go on and on and on. When we start to study trigonometry even further, you'll know that 1080 degrees will give you this y is 0 as well. You can talk about negative angles, and negative 360 will also, and so on and so forth. So many different input values have given us the same y value. So these types of functions where you can put in many different numbers that will give you the same answer, these are many-to-one functions. Parabolas are many-to-one functions as well. Parabolas are many-to-one functions as well. If I was to sketch a parabola here, today we're not going to be using Desmos calculator. If I was to sketch a parabola here, so pardon the graph, remember that this is quite simply the y-axis and this is the x-axis. If I take a y value here, this y value represented by this straight line, do you notice that there are two x values that are giving me the same y value? This x value here and this x value here. This x value here, okay? This x value here. And let's say I call this x value A, I call this x value A, and I call this x value B. I call this x value B. And this graph here is y is equal to f of x. Y is equal to f of x. So what is f of A? Okay, so let's say this is y, this is y1. Okay, this y value is y1. So what do you notice here? Well, f of A is equal to y1. But okay, let me write this here. But f of B is also equal to y1. Is also equal to y1. So I have two values here, A and B, which are giving me the same y value. If I go to A, the y coordinate is y1. If I go to B, the y coordinate is also y1. So graphically, this is what it looks like. I have many values of x, in this case A and B, which are giving me the same value of y, in this case y1. So this is a many-to-one function as well. So quadratic functions are actually many-to-one functions. Now, one-to-one is quite simple. You only get a certain y value for one x value. For example, let's look at a straight line graph, a linear function. A straight line graph, a linear function. This graph here, okay? This graph here. If you look at this y value here, okay, if you look at this y value here, the x value corresponding to this y value is this one. Is this one. Is this A here. And this is the y1 here. But tell me, is there any other x coordinate that's going to give me y1? No. No. So this is a one-to-one function. Only one value is giving you one answer. That answer is only being produced by one value. So that is a one-to-one function. So that brings us to the end of this simple video explaining the difference between many-to-one functions and one-to-one functions.